In this part, we will start deep diving a little more into which are SAP characteristics, and I will try to introduce some general functionalities for navigating, because then from next week we will start really in going on with the system. In this part, we will start by, let's say, giving an overview of which are the characteristics of SAP ERP. Then we will detail a bit which are the main elements of SAP navigation, and we will describe more in detail which is the nature and the aspects of the GBI case, which is the case that will be carried on during all the course in order to do navigation exercises and so on. Then next week we will start, using the system starting from the type of data that are included in SAP ERP. First of all, who is SAP ERP? SAP ERP is a company, is a German company, which actually created in 1972 the first version of SAP ERP. Today, SAP ERP, as you saw from the previous the previous lecture, is the leading company for ERP software, and you can see the huge number that characterize this company. So 65,000 employees all over the world, more than 200,000 customers, and 180 countries in which SAP ERP is used, and so on. So very huge multinational company. Because SAP has a worldwide usage. It can be adapted to every geographical zone, to every business, thanks to its multilingual functionalities, the fact that it's able to operate with many currency and with many monetary values, and it can, manage, for example, we will see that financial economics for companies that are spread all over the world without having too much problem. It can satisfy needs for different industries, like for example automotive, banking, retail, public sector, higher education, and so on. And that's why today is the most renewed software in the world. As we see in the previous lecture, of course, SAP has all the characteristics of an ERP system. So it enables a company to support and optimize the different business processes, let's say by tying together different business function and by integrating the workflow of the process. So it allows function like finance, like logistics, like human resources, like governance of the company, in executing different processes in an integrated way. So giving real-time information, giving an automated workflow, and providing different functionalities which are scalable and flexible. Here you can have a look at what the SAP Business Suite is. Of course, we have the core suite, the traditional suite that characterized the system during the years, which has then been integrated by, we saw some advanced intercompany module. Those modules that support intercompany processes like supply chain management, like customer relationship management, like supplier relationship management, and product lifecycle management. Of course, in order to run also virtual machine, also the layer related to the SAP NetWeaver application has been conceived and added during the year. If you go, a little bit in detail of what we should expect from SAP ERP, we can see that these are the module. We can see let's say the more economics and financial module on the left part, like finance, controlling, treasury, enterprise controlling, investment management, program system, while on the right we have a more, let's say, supply chain module, logistics module, like sales and distribution, material management, production planning, quality management, and plant maintenance. And then we have also other type of managerial module related to business process, which have been added during years. I mean, this slide is also useful because you can start familiarize with some acronyms related to ERP module, like MM, materials management, PP, production planning, SD, sales and distribution, and so on, which will be recurring during the course. Of course, I mean, today's SAP is very, let's say, extensive, comprehensive, and so on. But I mean, the first SAP ERP had just some core application, so existing since the foundation of the first version, and these core applications are essentially logistics, finance, and human capital management. So the first version of SAP ERP were conceived and were launched on the market just including logistic, finance, and human capital management. Now, if this background information is clear, let's try to understand how to navigate through SAP ERP without, I mean, using the system by now, but I will upload then a video with some navigation examples where you still have the opportunity to see this preliminary concept applied in practice. First of all, I have to say that in order to use SAP ERP, you have to download the SAP interface from the Penn State University download area. I put the link, so go there, click technical application area, and there you see the SAP GUI for Windows and Mac, and I mean, download and install it, and then you have to log in or log on the application. I mean, this is for the example for the Windows system. For example, I have a Mac, and the let's say the process is different, but I mean, you just have to find this icon and click, and then I mean, you have the possibility to access the system, of course, taking the username and the password that I have assigned to you. So I have uploaded for each student a password and a username. Please take with you when you start using the SAP application interface. When you start using the system and you log in the system, please be sure to select the BK1 system, the introduction to ERP and business processes. In particular, the BK1 system is named SAP ERP Global Bike version 3.1 SCC Intro. And it is recalled here. You see that the system ID you are supposed to use is this one, so please log in this system because the other one doesn't work with your password and ID. And this system corresponds this host name, which is standard because it is the server of the University of Milwaukee. And I mean, the system ID instead characterize the first part of the host name. What I want, I mean, to recall you is that the client server of our simulation will be 100.07, and I mean, this is the layout of your user ID and password. Each of you will have a user ID in the code GBI trade one and pound, and each one of you will have a different pound in terms of number, and you will start with the same password, which is BuzzPro PW. So please keep in mind this. I have uploaded a file, so take a look at your number and your password. Why I'm telling you this? Because then when you log in the system, in order to log in correctly, you need to insert this information here. In particular, the first time you log in, you should insert, please remember, 107 for the client, because it starts with 000, and if you try to log in with 000, it doesn't work. Then you should insert GBI threat 1 pound and your number here, and first time you log in, BuzzPro PW. Why I'm saying the first time you log in? Because the first time you log in, you will be asked to change the password. So the first time you log in, you must change the password, and once you change the password, is done. I mean, you have set a password for your account and for your login in SAP ERP. Why I'm telling you this? Because when you try to log in and you put username or password incorrect 3 times in a row, you are automatically, let's say, excluded from the system for the next 8 hours. This is important because if you need to do a simulation or a SAP lab and you need to do it in the next 2 hours, if you are cut down from the system from the next 8 hours, you are not able to solve the assignment or whatever, and so this will mean a late delivery. So in order to restore the situation, of course, you should write to me, but I'm not able to fix this. I mean, I cannot, let's say, re-include you in the system just with my account. I need to contact SAP and say GBI 150 has been excluded from the system because it doesn't remember the password. So please, can you resend a link where they can reactivate the password and blah blah blah. But of course this takes time, so if you are in a rush, this becomes a problem. So please, you need to remember a username and the password. Write it down in as many places as you can. Don't forget, and don't put it wrong in 3 times in a row, because otherwise you will be in serious concern. Then once you change and you log in, you click OK, and you are in the system. Once you are in the system, what you will see in the main screen is something like this. So you see here, this is the name of the company that we will use with our simulation, and here's the main menu. Each of these we will give you access to some of the data that in functionalities that we'll analyze in our simulation, and that will be described in the following lecture. Now I will give you just some basics information and navigation issue. I already said I will upload a simulation with more detailed comment on basic navigation activities working directing on the system. But just to give you an idea, the menu on the left works through window selection. So you click and further option, you click here and further option are displayed, and so on. In this case, for example, clicking logistics, you get materials management, sales distribution, shipping and transformation, billing, credit management, foreign trade, customs, and sales information system. And if you want, for example, to go down to sales, you can analyze or see data about inquiry, quotation, order. In particular, for order, you can create, change, or display actual orders, and here you can see it very well because under the logistic area you can open the data of the sales department, You can open the data of the sales department. In particular, we are interested in seeing data coming from order. In particular, in this case, we want to display characteristics of some particular orders. When you navigate through SAP ERP, in the upper part of the screen, you have a standard toolbar with some icons. And these are, let's say, the meaning of the icon in the system. This icon means that you want to enter the command once you have typed some information. This is the command field when you can type directly a command. With this icon you can save the transaction and the operation that you executed in the system. Here you came back, here you exit from the actual screen, here you cancel what you have done, you can print, you can see in detail something more in the system, so you can expand some icons or some view. These are scroll icon. I mean, these allow you to go down and up very quickly or more or less quickly, more or less in a fast way, some documents that are really long. This icon create a new session, this create a desktop shortcuts, these are help icons, and these are the options. Of course, when the icon looks transparent, it means that they are locked for the case, or they are not being activated yet. This is how the screen looks like in SAP ERP. As you see here, that's the standard toolbar we discussed some seconds before, and that's how a traditional screen of SAP look like. In this case, we are viewing information about a standard order, and we can see that on the top we have the header data about the order, so the general data about the order. Here we have the item overview that are in the order, so the sales that makes the order, the item overview, the item detail, the ordinary part, the procurement, the shipping, and the reason for rejection eventual. And here for each, let's say, view on the order, you have the item detail. More specifically in the screenshot, what we have as element in the screen of SAP. Here there is the menu bar, so where you can select option and so on. Here you have the standard toolbar. When you have the command field, so here you can type command and execute command. You have the title bar. So what you are, watching on the screen in case the standard order. Here you have application bar, so some application that you can activate according to what are you querying on the system. Then we have some input fields that you want to insert in order to have a look at some specific object relating to the title bar, or let's say in this case the standard order you are analyzing. These are further tabs, so you are viewing a standard order, and for this standard order you can make a drill down on this type of tab that can, let's say, enrich information about the item that you are seeing. Please take a look that after a certain field there can be different icons. This icon means that you can search for example, a sold to party, let's say, number. So if you open it, a list of selection comes out, and then you can select the one that you want to include in your view. Drop down means that there are already the predefined list that you can select from in the tabs. Then on the bottom of the screen you have the status bar, And most importantly, the system messages. Why I am pointing out this? Because essentially with SAP ERP you can get three types of messages. You can get an error message shown in red, pointing out that something's not going good. So you maybe make an inquiry or type something that is not correct, or something, for example, is missing, and this means that you can go on using the system without solving the error. So E in red means that you need to solve something, which is different from the W in yellow, which is a warning. I mean, the system is perceiving that some things may be wrong, but I mean, this is not for something that is constraining the system and doesn't allow you to go on with your inquiry to the system. But please keep in mind that something is not correct and that an error has been made. Please take this in consideration in your exercise. If there is a warning system, it means that you are not doing something good. So even if you can go on, try to solve the error, because it means that you go on, carry on this type of warning. Instead, what you should like is the I in green, which is information, which just give you some feedback on the system and saying that all is okay and you can go on without any problem, or what you ask to the system has been correctly executed, like just saving what the action that you did before. Of course, in case you have troubles in understanding the meaning of some fields or some command, you can always use the help options. I mean, if you position your cursor in one of the field, for example here, and then you click help, which is the question mark in yellow position here, you see that you get some information about the field and what you are supposed to fill in or to analyze by clicking or by filling this type of field. So please, you can use it if you need it, as it clarifies something, and it can give you some tips of usage. Of course, in case you need more help, you can visit help.sap.com, where a SAP library is present, and you can navigate. You see that in detail different topics and solve some painful doubt that you can have in using the system. Finally, I want just to give you an overview on the characteristic of the company that we will use during all the course, in all the navigation exercise, in all the description of the processes that we will analyze in the following classes. So you know which type of company are you going to face, which are the main characteristics, and make you, I mean, it gives you a reality, a sort of reality, when you also use the systems, and you know, I mean, which type of processes are you trying to manage or inquiry or let's say analyze. GBI is a bike manufacturer and assembler, and it is a fictitious company created by SAP designer in order to test the functionalities and improve the functionality of SAP. I mean, it is a bike assembler and producer, which produce bikes of different types and quality, and serving customers of different nature. Today, let's say GBI is formed essentially by two sub-companies, one located in the United States and one located in Germany. And why we are arrived at this configuration? Because at the beginning was John Davis, the first founder that was a mountain bike champion, that decided to start in 1990 its own mountain bike company named Frankenstein Bikes. In parallel, we have this other guy, which is Peter Schwartz, which is also a sport addicted and an expert in bike usage. Who decide himself to start his own business in frame company manufacturing. Both met in the new millennium and merged their two companies, forming the Global Bike Inc., named GBI for the case. This is today how the, let's say, organizational chart or resource organization of GBI looks like. I mean, John and Peter are what we call co-CEO. So both have the same role, responsibility, and rights in the company. In particular, John is responsible for sales marketing, service and support, IT, finance, and human resources, while Peter is responsible for research and design, procurement, manufacturing, and so on. So all that is related to the supply chain. What we can say is that essentially, in very simple terms, John is responsible to sell the product, okay, and so brings the money in the company. While instead Peter, let's say, builds the products, so produce the products, and also consume resources by buying and producing. So let's say that Peter spends the money of the company, so make the money of the company comes out, not in. However, this separation of responsibilities make GBI what we will call then a process center organization, because both John and Peter share the culture that the processes they are responsible for should be seen as processes and not just as the functional areas of the companies, which are, crossed by these processes. So they have and they share a process vision of the company, where one guy, Peter, is responsible for the idea to market and build to stock product of the company, while John is responsible for the order to cash and the service and marketing activities of the company. So there is clearly a process vision that need to be spread all over the company in order to be successful, as we saw in the business process management part. So it is a perfect example of a business process management organization, even though the organization is functional. So here we have an example of an organization that it is functional because it is organized per functions, but from the top of the company, a process management perspective is promoted. Here it is instead, let's say, the organizational structure in practice of GBI, because as we can see, GBI, so the main company is as is headquarters, so at the enterprise level are located in Dallas, so in US. So GBI is a US company, but it operates through two subsidiary companies. So we have GBI US and GBI Germany or GBI Europe. one, of course, subjected to some accounting standards, so the US accounting standards, while the GBI in Germany is subjected to the EFRS accounting standard. However, material planning, finance, administration, HR, and IT function are consolidated at the Dallas headquarters. While instead the Dallas facility here manufacture products for the US and export markets, and it warehouses manages produce distribution for the central US and internet retailers. So in the US we have a manufacturing plant in Dallas, a distribution center located in San Diego, and one other located in Miami. In particular, San Diego handles the West Coast distribution and the export for Asia, while Miami handles East Coast distribution and Latin American export. Instead, in Germany, we have a manufacturing plant in Heidelberg and a distribution center in Hamburg. The Hamburg warehouse in particular handles all shipping for the UK, Ireland, Middle East and Africa. All over, we can say that GBI can count on an organization of more than 100 people, distributed as, let's say, 2/3 of these. So let's say 66 employees are located in the JBI US company, while the remaining 1/3 are located in the European or German company. JBI realize different type of bikes and accessories. In particular, JBI wants to promote their product as having high level of quality, and promotes the company as having a high level of service, giving a high level of service to its customer. In particular, JBI sells two type of customer: the professional cyclist and what we call the prosumer cyclist for touring and off-road racing. In the touring bike category, JBI's bicycle are sold with a very large number of, let's say, professional also team that use them in order to perform activity in official tours and in international competition. And they are very, very famous, and they are adopted in more than 10 countries. While JBI's off-road bicycle are also very famous and recognized by the world as incredibly tough and easy to maintain, and are also used by some unprofessional riders that like this bicycle for their particular technical functionalities that can offer, and for the level of security that they can provide when you are hanging around with this type of product. It's not over, because JBI doesn't sell just finished product but also accessories. So like helmets, t-shirt and other riding accessories, which are not manufactured by JBI, but JBI partners with high quality supplier of accessory in order to support the use of the bicycles. If we deep dive the bill of material of JBI, we can see that JBI of course offer what we can call finished goods, which are essentially the goods that are produced by the company. So definitely the bike, tour, air and off-road, professional tour biking and off-road biking. Trading goods, which are the accessories which are bought from the external supplier. And then we have we have the materials that are needed to manufacture this type of trading goods and finished good, and here you see with their acronyms as registered in the SAP system. But let's analyze that more in detail. In terms of goods and finished goods, we already said that we have trading goods or all the type of accessories that GBI buy from the market, like elbow pads, first aid kit, knee pads, off-road helmet, repair kit, and so on. And then we have the type of bike that GBI produces, like deluxe bike in different model and different colors, man off-road bike, professional touring bike, and woman's off-road bike. So they offer the off-road bike, let's say type of product, and then we have also the professional models. These are realized by acquiring semi-finished goods and raw material. As you can see from the list, GBI has outsourced the production of both off-road and touring frames, as well as the carbon composite wheels, which are bought from external partners. We have specialized facilities enabling the fabrication of complex materials used. Of course, in order to keep the eye on the quality, GBI maintains a collaborative research and design relationship with this partner to ensure that innovation in material and structural capabilities are, incorporated then into the frames and then in the final products. Once received, the GBI assembles semi-finished goods into finished goods in production facility and then deliver it to the final customer. In terms of the supply network, we can see that most of the vendors are located in the US, and the whole subset form an extensive network of partners that are able to ensure process continuity for the whole production. In particular, GBI promotes themselves as a company which is very well integrated with its suppliers and invests also in developing suppliers if needed. Finally, we have a distribution network, so the dealers through which GBI distributes its product. GBI has a particular strategy in the sense that, given the highly specialized nature of its bicycle and the personalized needs of riders, GBI has decided to sell its product only through very well respected and independent bicycle dealers in US and Germany. And these dealers, employ staff members who are very expert in off-road and tour racing. So they have a great knowledge about the product and how they can use the product, and they can show to customer how to use the product in order to give them an appropriate level of sales. Last but not least, as we already talked about that, I want to recall that GBI states itself as a process-centric organization. So GBI has a shared service model for all the function, and this type of model, which is enabled thanks to a centralized IT department, enable the possibility to implement, let's say, a unique ERP version for for both the two companies. So avoiding the fact that each company run its own and independent application environment, which doesn't allow integration between the two. So all the ERP functions are centralized with the primary objective to reduce costs and deliver integration and the global vision to both of the company. And this is shown by this I mean, this representation. There is a central IT department that allow a unique distribution of an ERP system that, I mean, offer GBI an advanced business platform under a highly controlled environment, which enables the consistency of the different operations, and so the process integrity and alignment across the different offices and location of the company.